One of the more interesting and fun aspects when it comes to gear from Marvel's Avengers is the 6 different status effects that are available in launch at the game, and these will appear on your gear, and the status effects can be procced by using different attacks depending on your character. Now there's 6 different status effects in question. In this video we'll break down each of the 6 of them because the game doesn't really give you a lot of information on them, and we'll talk about situations where they could be useful as well. But the 6 different effects, they are Gamma, Cosmic, Plasma, Pym, Shock and Cryo. But let's jump in and let's check them out. The first status effect we look at here is Cosmic Ionization. This one's really pretty awesome. So with this, if an enemy takes enough cosmic damage they become ionized. Now the way you can actually tell a status effect is active is above the health bar of an enemy you'll see the status effect filling up. When it fills up you actually get an outline and you'll get a visual effect on the enemy in question to let you know it is active. But when an enemy becomes ionized with cosmic damage they will take an increase in damage from incoming attacks, which is pretty nice, but on top of that it will also simultaneously boost hero willpower. So what that actually does, it works as life on hit essentially. So you'll fill the bar up, they become ionized, it will start to tick down. Whilst it's ticking down, any additional attacks you do on that enemy you'll get that extra damage, but you'll be getting health back as well. So really pretty amazing effects, this one. The next gameplay effect we have here is Cryo Freeze. Now with this particular one, if an enemy takes cryo damage they freeze, you'll get a blue glow around them to let you know they have the freeze status effect. This will slow movement speed and it decreases the frequency of all attacks as a result of that as well. Now if you actually knock an enemy up in the air and you freeze them, they'll actually float down relatively slowly as well, so it means you can do some nice juggling combos with this. The tooltip also states inhibits many defensive abilities together. No idea what that actually means. Perhaps it's meaning the fact that from a defensive perspective it does help to have your enemies slowed, which it most certainly does. The next status effect we have here is Plasma Burn. With this one here, if an enemy takes enough plasma damage they burn and are intermittently interrupted from attacking, so that's most certainly useful. Some enemies will also be staggered by this effect as well. Now this in question I believe could be really useful on Hulk, the reason being that when he uses his grab attack you have to stagger an enemy before you can grab them. It doesn't matter if they've got a shield, if you stagger them you can still grab them. So if you set them on fire with this, they'll be staggering, grab them and then you can start smashing them. And from the footage just a moment ago it looks like, although it doesn't say in the tooltip, this potentially spreads between enemies as well. This next status effect is without a doubt the most fun one. So this is called Pym Shrink. With this, if an enemy takes enough particle damage, the Pym Particles cause them to shrink. Whilst reduced in size, enemies deal less damage and take more damage from all attacks. Now that on its own is really pretty nice, but there's some nice side effects as well. If you use this in some of the larger enemies that Hulk can't grab, he can actually then grab them, and what will happen is the status effects won't wear off as long as he's actually still grabbing them and smashing away on them. So you can have some of your larger enemies, you'll shrink them and then Hulk can take them completely out of the game. So really nice, this one. The next status effect here is Gamma Poisoning. With this one, if an enemy takes enough gamma damage they become poisoned, incurring intermittent damage that they spread to nearby enemies. This will be good if you're maybe playing a mode where there's loads of low level trash coming at you and you can just poison one and then just poison the rest. Now on top of that as well, being defeated while suffering from this status effect causes a large gamma explosion. So once again, if you use this against lower level mobs, it'll be spreading between them and they'll be exploding left, right and centre as well, so pretty nice. The final status effect we have here is one that was pretty difficult to proc because the gear it was attached to, I only got the status at the end of a combo attack and it's quite difficult to get them in the harm room due to all the enemies attacking you. But this one here is Electric Shock. So if an enemy takes enough shock damage they become shocked, incurring increased damage from incoming attacks and a greater chance that critical attacks will occur as well. So if there's any of the characters that have got a way of perhaps boosting their critical damage via their kit, that could be via their abilities or via their gear, then shock could be really useful. The more crits you're getting, the higher the crit damage. Also taking increased damage, the damage numbers could really ramp up here. I'm hoping this one potentially could work in Black Widow informatically. That would make sense as well. So that is the 6 status effects that are currently available in Marvel Avengers, and they've done a really good job. You've got some that offer survivability, some that will help you crank up damage numbers, other ones that are useful from crowd control, and then you get the likes of Pym Particles, which are just a lot of fun, and it's really quite ingenious what they have done with that as well. But Do bear in mind the way these actually work is that you will get this potential perk dropping on your 2 offensive pieces, which means that each character should be able to equip 2 different status effects, so there's lots of interesting combinations out there. But as always, I hope the video's been helpful. If you've enjoyed it and you found it useful, make sure to hit the subscribe button, because there's lots more guide content coming up on the channel. But stay safe, and I'll see you all again soon.